Hey everyone, Matt Pisarcik from RazorEmporium.com. Today, continuing our Razor Archive series, we are arriving towards the end of the double-edge era for Gillette, and today we're going to be discussing the super adjustable razors. So these razors first debuted around 1968, and they lasted until 1988. They had many different iterations over the years with different cases, different materials, and we're going to discuss some of those today. So the original was the Super 109, and this refers to the 109 millimeter long handle that was first put out. And this is the longest butterfly razor that Gillette made. And you know, a lot of guys today love these because they do have that long handle. And if you're someone who has come from the world of Mach 3s or Fusions, cartridge razors, the longer handle is definitely something that seems more appealing right off the bat. And some people like to stick with that. I prefer more of a bulldog style handle, but everyone is different. So now these have a kind of a cursory look that they're pretty similar to the Slim and the Fat Boy razors, and they are in many ways. They are different in others. The first thing you're going to notice is that these are the only razors from Gillette, the only adjustable razors with the black handles. So rather than having the full brass handle like the Slim and the Fat Boy and Toggles have, these actually have an aluminum handle that is anodized black. When we do the restoration work, like this one was revamped in our shop in a factory nickel finish, when we do this, we don't have the anodizing ability at this point in time. Maybe soon. We do obviously have plating, but anodizing is a very different process. And so we instead powder coat this black. And we've had actually a color matched powder coat. So it looks really, really clean, shiny, looks really good, and is extremely durable. So that's good. Aluminum just can't plate the same way that brass or steel does. So plating's kind of out of the option for these. And the other kind of drawback from aluminum is that you can get corrosion and deterioration to the handle. So you actually will notice that a lot of times you'll have little tiny kind of pock marks or like little craters kind of in the aluminum handle, and that is pretty much par for the course. In fact, to find one that is in perfect shape is in my opinion kind of a rarity. They almost always have some kind of little marking on the aluminum, and that's just how aluminum goes. And that's kind of the progression of Gillette. As we're seeing in this archive series, it's always a progression to cheaper and easier because, again, the product was not the razor, the product was the razor blade. And so these were just a necessary evil, so to speak.
Search no more. The quest for the ultimate blade is over. Gillette introduces Platinum Plus, the blade with an edge of Gillette's astonishing new platinum alloy. Platinum Plus, harder than stainless, more durable than chrome, to shave you not just cleaner, but with more comfort than any blade in history. Gillette Platinum Plus, the blade you've always wanted, and more.
Late 60s, you have the Beatles were having their last performance. The Jumbo Jet 747 comes out. Neil Armstrong's walking on the moon, and you have these razors coming out. The razor also appeared, as I kind of showed here, in a shorter form. So this is the 109, and then we have the 84. So these are 84 millimeters long for the handle. So Super 84, Super 109. They also had a gold version that came out. Again, gold was pretty much always around the holiday time frame, and so you'll probably see these around Christmas time, maybe Father's Day, stuff like that. These were put up in a plastic, white plastic case with a clear top. They also, towards the end, were just put into cardboard boxes, so they really didn't even have a case anymore. And that brings us to kind of the final chapter as part of this series of the 109 is going to be, as people today refer to as the Black Beauty. So you see this black band down here, this black blade tray as we call it. This is plastic, and this is really the first time you see a plastic part integrated into the rest of it. Aluminum, hey, it's still metal. Brass, obviously, now it's plastic. So that change happened in 1976, where you go to the black plastic down on the bottom. Then later in 1980, the knurl pattern changed on the handle, and you see over here the 109 has kind of the same crosshatch, as I call it, vertical knurling, as like the slim adjustable and super speed, but then they went to like a diamond knurl over here in 1980. You also see a change inside. They originally started off like the Tech Razors or Fat Boys, everything else with kind of this diamond base plate in the guard. And then around 1980, they changed to like the more the square cutout. So that's another kind of indication. So for a very brief time, you'll see this. You'll see these razors that'll have a black plastic tray, but they'll have the vertical knurling still. That's only gonna be from 76 to 80, and then 80 the knurl changes to diamond. So again, various iterations of this razor, various packaging configurations. Today, a lot of people like these razors because the demographic of people who are into wet shaving have birth years in this range of razors, i.e. from 1968 to 1988, or 1969. And so it's easier to find a birth year Gillette razor that's going to be a Super 109, Super 84, or Black Beauty, as they refer to, with a black plastic tray. But in terms of quality construction, after years of working on these, I can say that they're good, but they are nowhere near as good or reliable as, let's say, the Gillette Slim Adjustable. And it just has to do with the construction. We already talked about that. The aluminum, the plastic, it's just nowhere near as foolproof. And also, this bottom part, it's actually a separate little handle, this little bottom tube on these guys. And it also really doesn't bode well for draining, water out. It does have a little hole in the bottom, but we end up seeing a lot of TTO issues right around this area here. That's twist open issues. And I just have kind of a guesstimate, a guess theory, that it's because water and soap end up getting kind of built up right here on this butterfly area. And whereas on the Fat Boy and the Slim, it's so close to the bottom's opened up, they can air out, dry out, but this one, it almost traps it in there. And we always end up seeing a lot of soap scum in this bottom portion of this handle when we take them apart. So, not my favorite Gillette razor, I'll be really straight with you. As a collector, I like to have it in my collection. You got to have them all, right? But in terms of functionality, I would never put this in the same breath as a Slim or Fat Boy. I would always say those razors are top tier for reliability. This one's just a notch down from that. So good razors, they do shave nice. So they do have a great shaving performance. That does nothing to do with the construction. You can have a really poorly constructed razor shave you really, really well. So a lot of guys like these for the shave performance. They do have kind of a bigger adjustment nut than the Slim or Fat Boy. So some people really like them because they're so easy to read and so big. I do think they got that right with this series, is that people can see and adjust these a lot easier than, let's say, the Slim or the Fat Boy, which had smaller numbers. So obviously this is towards the end of Gillette. Let's also think about the fact that the Atra razor made its debut here. I think it was 77 the Atra came out. And so Gillette already has its mindset onto the future of the company, and they were right. It was going to be cartridges. They could no longer compete with all the double-edge makers who were coming on board just making blades only. And then they're here with all this machinery and all this overhead trying to make these razor handles. So they had to change the format. And this is kind of the last crusade for Gillette, as I would call it, is the Super 109, Super 84, Super Adjustable series. In terms of value, in terms of today's dollars, these sold for, I think, $1.69 or $1.95, somewhere in that same kind of price range. In today's money, 2020 money, it'd be $14, $15, or still very much of a bargain razor here to get this razor. You couldn't have anyone today make this kind of razor out of brass and aluminum for that price. I think it's still pretty incredible. And last but not least, in terms of its rarity, we always used to talk about, one, you could find it anytime you go out antiquing at a thrift store or wherever. 5, it belongs in a museum. I'm going to have to give this a solid 2. I don't think they're incredibly rare. I think you can easily pick them up. In fact, whenever I go out antiquing, this is a pretty common one to see. I mean, again, it's very recently made. They were made in large numbers. They were sold all over the place, grocery stores, department stores. So very, very much an easy razor to find, easy razor to pick up on eBay or a thrift store or wherever, or a Razor Emporium. So That is all I have to say about the 109 and 84. If you own one of these or know something I didn't talk about, please let me know in the comments below. And if you do leave a comment, you're entered in to win this, the official Razor Emporium Black and Blue t-shirt. Thanks so much for watching. That's all I got on this video, and we will check you out next time at Razor Emporium for all things vintage shaving. Thanks, guys.